Welcome back to Search Marketing Academy. Today's guest is somebody that you probably already know. I'm really excited to have her on. She is a household name in SEO. If you're on Twitter and LinkedIn, uh, you know her. And if you don't know her, you should. Crystal Carter from Wix.
Hello, Ashwin. Thank you so much for having me. I didn't realize I was a household name. Me and I don't know, Hershey's or something. No, I'm not. But yeah, thank you very much. It's an absolute joy to be here.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I love the content that you put out. I love watching clips of you on YouTube and social media. You have amazing stage presence. So I know you have that plus you know everything about SEO, like the technical side, the content side. I don't think there's a part of SEO you haven't addressed yet. And honestly, from one marketer to another, you're so good for our community.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really kind. I really love SEO and I love SEOs. I think when I came into the SEO industry, I was just floored. I was like, oh, these are my people. Like I was like these are my people because I feel like SEOs have like we have like a natural sort of like I don't know, a natural ability to sort of like pick things and look at things both in like the macro and the micro at the same time. And I find that I just love that. It's something that I absolutely love. And people and I feel like the community as a whole just really likes making things better. And everybody loves a success story. Everybody loves to like, oh, I took this website and it was a mess. But now look at it go. And I just love that. I love it before and after. I love green arrows. Yeah, it's vibes.
I love that. I felt the same way when I came into PPC. And I'm an organic marketer. I do brand and organic search marketing. And this was the first time I ever worked with an audience that primarily works in paid marketing. So it was a little different, but then the more I got used to it, I feel a lot of the things that you feel, like the micro and macro, wanting to make things better, wanting to help people, loving when other people succeed. And that's, I guess, before we get into talking about SEO itself, tell me a little bit about what you do at Wix. What are you focused on right now? What are some areas of priority for you?
So I am the head of SEO communications at Wix, and I love my job. I get to do lots of fantastic things. So I spend a lot of time communicating the value of SEO to Wix users. So helping them use the Wix SEO tool set, which is immense. And growing all the time. That team works so hard. I like they're constantly like new updates. I'm like, hang on, I can't keep up. Like it's just like let me get them out. So yeah, they're constantly pushing through new changes all the time and so we get to tell people about that and how they can use them to do even better activity on their websites. And I also get to chat to fantastic people like yourself, to SEOs who are working in the SEO space about how they use Wix or how they use SEO in general. And that's really cool. And then I'm also such a busybody that I get to be involved with some of the strategic things at Wix, which is fantastic because it's such a big company. We do lots of really cool things. And also, if I see something on the Wix.com and I'm like, I think we could do this, and then people are like, I thought you were on, and I'm like, no, I would like to see this. So I get to get involved with some of those things as well. And yeah, I absolutely enjoy that and absolutely love that as well. So literally dream job. I absolutely love the team and I love what I get to do.
Awesome. I love speaking to people who love what they do. It shows in their work and the way they approach stuff. It's definitely visible with everything you said. I know one of the things that you're advising people on paying more attention to is the search experience, particularly how the SERP is getting a lot richer in terms of media and what's actually on the SERP. Talk to me a little bit about what this means for search marketing. Are there any risks for people who neglect this?
Yeah, so I think I've spoken a little bit about this at a few events this year, and I think that when we think about search overall, we can't just think about words. We can't just think about words on a page. We can't just think about writing a blog and then that's done. The media experience, particularly on mobile, or sorry, the SERP experience, particularly on mobile, touches across lots of different spaces and includes lots of different rich media, rich snippets, featured snippets, rich results, and lots of different things there. So I think that it's important for search marketers, both paid and organic, to pay attention to all of those SERP features. Sometimes when you Google something, I mean, it's not even like a proper SERP feature. It's like a 3D lion or something. If you Google like lion, you get a 3D lion that you can play with, which is going to distract people from blue links and all that sort of stuff. And the SERP at the moment is really dynamic and really changing. And we have new Bing coming out, and we have new search engines like Neva and like U.com, for instance, which are including generative search as well. So I think that media and the SERP experience are really important because, for instance, if you look up a recipe card, then very often the recipe cards that have a video included in the content will show as a video snippet in the SERP. And that tells me as a user that if I go to this website, not only am I going to get a recipe, not only am I going to get instructions, but I'm also going to be able to see how to implement that as well. And so essentially the SERP should be your friend and should allow you to connect with people even before you get there. So it should increase the click-through rate and lots of other things. From a paid perspective, adding additional elements like images, like video, like audio even, allows you to add more elements to the page so that Google can understand the quality of your page, right? So Google understands the quality of your page, and if the quality of your page is higher, then your ads cost you less, right? So it costs you less to serve your ads because they can understand that that page has lots of things for them to crawl and to understand. So you can see your crawl stats on Wix. You can see your crawl stats for different crawl bots. There's a Google ad bot. There's your Google, there's the Google organic bot as well. And you can see that, and they crawl it and they see all of those different elements. And if you have more elements, and you can add more optimizations to it. So you can add alt text for your images. You can add schema markup for your images. You can add additional meta tags for your videos. You can add, lots of different elements all the way through, which enhances all of the information that Google has about your page, as well as enhancing the page experience for your users. So I think that the multimedia, thinking about multimedia as part of your content optimization and as part of your overall marketing strategy is absolutely key. And allows you to connect with users and bots in a really important way.
That's fantastic advice. We're seeing a lot of the same parallels on the paid side, especially with people running Performance Max. You can serve in shopping ads, your product listing ads. You can serve in search. You could serve in display, in the discovery feed. There's so many options, and it's not about, you're no longer just competing with a bunch of text links, like you said. You're competing with rich maps and rich 3D installations. And how are you going to capture attention? Not just on the SERP, but throughout Google's ecosystem. I think people need to start thinking about how people use all these Google products in tandem, particularly the SERP, but all of Google's products. And it's no longer just trying to hit one person at a time in one location. It's anybody can see your content at any point.
Right. And I think that the other thing about media is that, media can transcend languages as well. And a lot of people, when one of the things about ads that's really great is that it allows you to try out new markets at a really sort of low touch point. So for instance, you can look at your catalog and you go, hey, I think we could also sell in Australia. And they go, all right, should we try it? And you can optimize your ad campaign for Australia, see if people are interested in it, and then maybe you can say, okay, actually, we should invest in this from an organic and a search experience, blah 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 blah. And so, but even if you're going into new markets where maybe you have a language barrier, let's say maybe your team isn't that big on Portuguese yet, right? But you're thinking, oh, Brazil might be interested in our products, though, for instance. Then media can help you bridge that gap a little bit. So if I see a picture of a beautiful dress, I can see that it's a beautiful dress, regardless to what language I speak. And I spend a lot of time on Instagram looking at hair tutorials. That's one of the things that I spend a lot of time on. People have you have tangential internet communities that you follow along with. I also follow people who follow birds. I go on Instagram. But yeah, so I follow a lot of hair tutorials on Instagram, and there's tons of content coming out of Brazil. I have no idea what anybody's saying in these videos, but I can see what's going on, and I can see that that's how she's doing. That's a protective style, or that's this, that, or the other. so the multimedia thing allows you to bridge this gap, and allows you to grow your brand more quickly in lots of different spaces, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely critical. But one thing I'm seeing a lot of is paid marketers who want to start thinking about the complete brand experience across search, across a lot of products. They don't necessarily know how they can approach their clients and contribute to that. Do you have any advice for somebody who would want to get started with that?
I would say like look at your data. So generally speaking, with any of these things, if you're trying to convince clients of something, like there's almost certainly some data you must have gotten. You must as a search marketer, you must have seen something that made you think actually this is an opportunity here. So for instance, in the idea of like let's say you're an American company and you look at and you look up and you see actually we're getting a lot of traffic from the UK, for instance. Both okay, there's a common language there, separated by an ocean or whatever. So there's a common language there. And it might be the case that you say, okay, I think we can do stuff in the UK. We could tailor something. We could do this, that, or the other. We can sort out the currency. That's that sort of thing. And so you can take some of the data that you got from your PPC marketing. You can take some of the data that you got from your organic marketing. You can take some of the data that you got from you can even do a sort of poll on social media, for instance, saying, hey, UK people, are you interested in this or that? So you can take some of that data and you can give decision makers the data in order to allow you to test it, right? And so you can test it. And one of the things that's great about PPC and organic is that you can test something for a short amount of time and see if that'll make any difference. So you can test a split page. I know that Wix allows you to do a split page. I can't remember. Is Google Optimize is being deprecated, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, this year.
What a shame.
Not to take us off track, but the worst part is the next best alternative to Google Optimize is so expensive, and the
Right.
accessibility just becomes so much more difficult for people, especially in emerging markets.
Yeah, precisely. That's like such a shame. Maybe we should kick up a stink about it. I don't know, but yeah, it's a shame. It's a great tool. So I think that you can do some split testing, that sort of thing, and you can take that data and allow people to have something to hang it on when you're convincing them of this. I think don't go in without any data. Have some data. Have a test that you can plan. Have an expected outcome. What is your hypothesis? And what will make it so that you're like, yeah, we should go with this, and what will make it so that like actually that's not working out. And I think that's how you get buy-in is with some data and some decent projections.
Well, if there's two things that PPC marketers are good at, it's data and projections. So I think that's fantastic advice. Everybody's going to be able to follow that. This is great to talk about what's happening now, moving forward over the next 12 months. What are your predictions for how this SERP experience or the Google experience is going to evolve and change?
We are living in an incredibly dynamic time in search. Like literally, I've never seen anything like it. So since November, it's been all everybody's talking about AI this, AI that, AI. And what's interesting about it is that certainly for people who've worked in PPC, like AI has been AI's been there for ages. Like, then all the search marketers like, oh my god, and all the PPC people are like, we've been here. Like, yep. We've been in this for a long time. Welcome to the party. Like, welcome. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. New Bing is very fascinating. There's a couple of things that I'm interested in on the Bing thing. Is that they're trying to ground Bing they're trying to ground Chat GPT with Bing data, but they're still having some trouble getting everything lined up. So there's still some teething problems there. And to be fair, they're in beta, so like that's what beta's for. So we'll see how that goes. The second thing that I find that a lot of people aren't talking about is like, oh yeah, new Bing's going to do this, but actually, like, you still have to rank on Bing in order to be seen on those things, and a lot of people have not been paying attention to Bing at all. I know a lot of PPC marketers are like, actually, whenever I speak to PPC marketers, they're always like, actually, I get really good results on Bing ads. Like everyone I know who does it, they're like, actually, it's cheap and I get good returns. So I find that interesting. So it'll be interesting to see like how Bing and Google become, or how Bing gets more if it gets more search traffic, and how that AI interface will work. Also, I'll be interested to see how more search engines get involved and get more traction. So Neva, for instance, is one that's been really good. You.com, I've been using a lot. They've got a lot. They have both a generative chat thing. They also have a generative image feature that's very similar to Midjourney, which is interesting. So yeah, I think that there's a bit of a diversification of search results and search engines, and also of generative search overall. So I think it's a fascinating time.
I have really strong thoughts on the whole Microsoft Bing Chat GPT thing. So my
Okay.
personal take is that Microsoft frequently puts itself in a great position and then shoots itself in the foot. I've seen them do it with I've seen them do it with Windows Phone and Nokia. I've seen them do it with the Xbox product line, and I don't have a lot of faith. But one thing I want to ask you is, do you think they're going to try to leverage the Chat GPT and Bing combination into promoting Edge, or are they going to make it more browser agnostic?
Well, I think at the moment they definitely are. So if you go to sign up for new Bing, they say, oh, before you do that, you have to download our app, and you also have to make it your default browser, and you have to do this. And I'm like, guys, like it's a lot. That's a lot. You're asking me to do a lot. I have a lot invested in Chrome, and you're asking me to do a lot. So that's interesting. And I was like, why are they doing this? Well, one of the reasons why I think they're doing this is because like they don't have as much of the data about search and how people use the web as Google does. Google has loads of stuff about how I search on YouTube, how I search on online. Generally speaking, my general web habits are good. Lots of that data, for instance. And I think that Bing are looking to get some more of that. One of the things someone else was talking about, which I think is a valid point, though, is that what Microsoft does have is they have a lot of ability to integrate with some of the Office tools, so things like Outlook, and things like Microsoft Word. So bring back Clippy. It's like Clippy 2.0.
I would love to see that.
I feel like they should bring back Clippy, and he should be like really souped up with and he should be like hench. And
I want personas for Clippy. I'd like an emo Clippy. I'd like a
yes,
metal Clippy.
right. I feel like Clippy should come back and he'd be like, "Did you miss me?" Like, and can he with the brows as well? Like, there we go.
Yeah. Well, this has been a great chat, but I want people to continue to learn from you and follow you. I know you've got some speaking engagements coming up. You're active on social media, so talk to us a little bit about where people can find you, where they can watch you in person or virtually, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, so I tend to be very busy at Wix.com. So I am one of the team behind the Wix SEO Learning Hub. We just got a new refresh, a new refresh looks. And we have so it's myself, Morty Overstein, who is my partner in crime on the Wix SERPs Up SEO podcast. So we host a weekly podcast there. And then we also have the Wix SEO Learning Hub, which who is led by George Wynn, who is the editorial editor there, and who you have contributed one of our most rock star posts. So thank you for that. Ashwin's like, yeah, I do it all the time, whatever.
Well, not to that extent. So that made me particularly happy. But yeah, I love working with all of you. Just being associated with the Wix brand is fantastic.
Seems like no feelings are mutual. It's all good. So yeah, there as well. And then Crystal on the web on Twitter. I'm trying to get better at LinkedIn because Twitter's been so strange that a lot of people are moving over to LinkedIn. So yeah, I'm trying to get better at LinkedIn, and I'm there as well. But I'll also be at Brighton SEO this autumn as a compere. So I'm looking to support lots of folks there, which will be fun. And then I'm speaking at MozCon. I'm speaking at a few other conferences in between. And I host a monthly webinar at Wix.com as well. So Wix.com/SEO/learn. And then you can find our webinars and all that stuff.